In today's episode of the Black Woman Leading Podcast, we are talking about communicating to connect with Keyshawn Hughes. Now, listen, if you know you need to strengthen your network but feel a little bit of resistance, exhaustion, inauthenticity every time you try, and you wonder why it feels so hard to make those connections, if you struggle to clearly articulate what you need, ask for what you want, or express yourself without over explaining or shrinking, and if you want to understand what is actually happening in your brain when you hold back, go quiet, or feel disconnected, and what you can do to rewire that, then you need to keep listening. Let's get into it. This podcast amplifies the needs and experiences of Black women leaders in the workplace with a holistic focus on 3 core areas: leadership development, mental wellness, and relationship management. Our ultimate aim is to help Black women learn, heal, and grow in their leadership capacity. Black woman leading. So welcome everyone. Today's episode, we're talking about communicating to connect with Keyshawn Hughes. Welcome to the podcast, Keyshawn.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. Awesome. So we want to get into this topic, but before that, let me give you the official about Keyshawn. Keyshawn Hughes is a neuro leadership strategist, executive coach, and founder of Neuro Savvy Leadership, equipping HR and corporate leaders with neuroscience-backed tools to boost productivity, retention, and engagement. Known for her contagious energy, heartfelt wisdom, and practical insight, Keyshawn bridges the gap between pressure and purpose, helping organizations build cultures where people and performance thrive together. With a master's in strategic communication, she has facilitated over 400 leadership engagements since 2021, helping organizations build thriving cultures. Keyshawn's upcoming book, Neuro Savvy Storytelling, shares strategies that move people to believe, align, and take action. Based in Atlanta, she brings the same heartfelt approach to life with her husband and child, who inspire her daily.
Every day.
You know what? I didn't even realize that in your bio you mentioned your energy, but you know when we had our first talk,
I love that happened. Yes, absolutely.
So when we had our first kind of intro call, I had a couple of calls that day, and you get into this when you have a podcast or any kind of platform where you're really trying to encourage and inspire people. You want to bring the real facts, but I mean, it's got to be a vibe too, right?
Every time.
It's got to be a vibe. And when I talked to her, I was just like, your energy is really refreshing.
I'm so glad it was, because we pour out so much.
Yes. And it's like, you really want to do this. You really want to be here.
I'm in it.
And the passion was palpable. And I think that's important. And it's a lesson for us as leaders, right? We have moments, of course, where we're begrudging, where we are, whatever we're doing feels burdensome. But if every doggone time somebody talk to you, it feel like somebody just had to drag you in here.
Yes.
Lord have mercy. So
yes,
the energy is a thing. But we're going to get into this. But why I wanted you to have you on the podcast and to talk about this, I was really intrigued by the neuroscience kind of insights you build into your work. And especially with this season, we're talking about relationships. We're talking about communication. We're talking about how we want to position ourselves in relationship with others. And I think having that neuroscience, how our brains are wired, how we work, it's important. And a lot of people don't necessarily know the nuances of that. So that's why I wanted to have you on, bringing the real expertise.
I appreciate it. It inspires me. That language is what helped me find connection with myself and with other people in a deeper way. What I wanted was deeper connection. So I went deep. I went internal and learned about myself and how we're wired, and then I'm sharing it with the world.
Okay, so we have to get into it. Before we jump into this, I always ask our guests, what does the phrase Black woman leading mean to you? And then as a follow-up, we read a little bit about your bio, but talk about, how you got to this journey as a neuroscience coach and all of this kind of stuff.
Thank you. Even here in neuroscience, I feel like sometimes when people hear that, they have an impression, but I want to just be grounded with it, right? It's just how we're wired in our brains and our nervous systems. But when I think of the question, Black women leading, what that means, I'm going to be honest. It just means Black women waking up, breathing, Just being here. Being here. Because it takes so much sometimes for us to just exist.
Yeah.
With so much. Our existence is fraught.
Yes.
So I think it's a win when we can just be.
Hello.
And not be doing. Like not be in function mode, but I'm just here.
Existing. As humans. Yes.
There's so much to that.
Yes.
That I think that I want to pause and ground myself in and celebrate.
Yeah.
About myself and about Black women. But then also I think about our hearts. And we have a heart for people. Most of the Black women that I know, that I surround myself, I'm in community with, we're here to serve. We're here, we lead with our hearts. We lead with love.
Yeah.
And it's so special, it's so significant. It's often imitated, but never duplicated.
Right.
So that's what I think about too. Like when you see a Black woman leading, you see one of one.
Yeah.
In aspects of many realms that we serve, but you see her doing her best and leading with her heart and being transformational.
I love it. Now tell us how you got to the neuroscience backed coach and all of that. Yeah.
See, I'm a marketer, so that's where my background is. Yes. So I knew that neuroscience tagline, it would get people's attention, right? And so how I got to that, I worked in corporate spaces in marketing and product management, mostly for tech companies for a long time, nearly 2 decades.
Wow.
And experienced burnout as I was leading in my family, personally and professionally. All I knew how to do was function, right? And so as I started questioning how I was showing up, I got some help, I got therapy, and was introduced to coaching as well. Hired my first career coach because I knew that while I enjoyed what I did and I was good at it, it wasn't meeting my internal need for purpose.
I see.
I just wasn't feeling that level of connection. And as a marketer, I knew that was the goal. You want to connect with whatever you're putting out. You have to personally believe in it. So I wanted to find out what I believed in and hired my first neuroscience trained coach. Her name is Shantae Javon Taylor. She's a Black woman neuroscientist.
Familiar with her work, yes.
And just set up a discovery call with her. And I said, I just want to, because I'd heard her on several podcasts, 3 in a row actually. And I'm like, the third time I said, let's just go ahead and
it's a sign.
It was a sign. And I paid attention. I followed it and had the discovery call with her. And by the end, I was said, take my money. Wow. I want your program. I want to sign up. I want to learn what you know. And through that program became a certified neuroscience-based coach and facilitator. And that happened around the same time, 2019. I was graduating with my master's degree in strategic communication, had completed this program, and things were happening on the job. Didn't know that a global pandemic was brewing as well.
Oh my God.
But I had already thought that if I wanted to pivot, I wanted to see how that would go, what path I would take. And in April, I got that chance. I was laid off. And so during that layoff, I was able to take some time and really think about how I wanted to show up, how I wanted to connect with purpose. And I just put an email out to my friends and family, my close circle, and said, I have this information. The pandemic is here. We don't really know. It's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
So if you want me to come and share this information with your team on how to build resilience, how to communicate through conflict, how to break out from burnout, which is what I did myself, I would love to do that. And by June of that year, I had my first speaking engagement. Wow. And it's been, like I said, 400 plus since. And I just keep going and keep serving in that way.
You know, it's a couple of things that that really resonate with me from your story, right? There is the aspect of many of us, we're having an experience.
Yes.
And so there's a desire to get some resolution for our own experience that then shifts to, how can I help other people with this? And it's so Black woman leading.
Isn't that?
It is so Black woman leading. Even when you look at a lot of the research, even in corporate, I think this was something from the McKinsey Black Women in Corporate, or Black Women in the Workplace, or Black Women in Corporate America report a couple years ago. It talked about how a driving motivator for many Black women to continue to move up was this to bring somebody with them, to help them. So there's this, I think this thing that can be a double-edged sword for us, right? But that we got to figure out something for our experience.
Right.
And then not being gatekeepers about it, right?
No gatekeeping.
Like,
no gatekeeping allowed.
Well, if this is really something, let me call and let some people know. I mean, it's such a Black woman leading thing. And of course, we got some gatekeepers within our ranks. But if we look at as a collective, it is more and more of people that are like, you know what, let me share this, or this really worked. And it's even down to I made a post yesterday. Mm-hmm. It's even down to, we're talking about leadership and professionalism, but it's even down to a good hair product, right?
I can't wait to share.
Yesterday, I used that heatless, it's a headband.
Yes.
The overnight.
Yes.
And I didn't.
Luscious.
Yes, I was
luxurious.
But look, I was too lazy to put it back in last night. But yesterday,
it's
baby,
working.
I had a body wave.
I believe it.
And I went on Facebook. Y'all, I ain't gonna believe this. I got about 5 people like, what's the Amazon link? And I am giddy. Like,
happy.
Girl, tag me in the post if you get it. You know what I mean? So I think that's something about us and the community aspect that is so beautiful. I love
that collective consciousness.
Yeah.
It's just within us. And when we can allow it to thrive and shine, let's do that.
Yeah. And if I'm winning, you winning.
Absolutely. Every time.
If I'm winning, you. Okay, this is good.
Yes.
So you talked about the layoff a little bit and your decision to pivot into this neuro-based coaching. That was a bold move.
Thank you for saying that.
That was a bold move. And even, we look at now in this season that we're filming this podcast, over 600,000 Black women have been laid off. So sometimes the pivot is because what else I'm going to do?
Right.
So, but I think what I mean by a bold move is you have been a marketer for 20 years.
Right. That's what I knew.
So why not just go get another marketer job, right? So I want to... you started to build this from scratch in a space that you weren't known for at all. Like... largely through word of mouth. That's the other thing I want to call out, because we do have a lot of people in this season who are pivoting, who are launching entrepreneurially as spurred by the moment.
Right.
But there is this, as myself being an entrepreneur for over 15 years now, there's this sense that I got to do all these things before I can make money. And you said it.
That's right.
Baby, I sent that email to my friends and family and said, I'm open for business. Like, literally, the shingle is out. Like, sometimes it don't take all that. At some point, you need the website, you need to be polished. But to make them first coins, you don't need all that.
No.
But let me get back to my question.
Okay,
I'm getting all off track.
Thank you. Yes.
This was a bold move in a very uncertain season. COVID was crazy.
Yes.
What did that season teach you about resilience and yourself as a leader? Because I know you do a lot of work with resilience. As you look back on that now, with these fresh eyes, what did that season of just starting fresh, something brand new, what did that teach you?
Oh my God, I kind of am getting a little teary-eyed just hearing you say it in your words and just feeling into it. It number one taught me how faith-driven I was, which I was not aware of because I had been so independent.
Wow.
I had been, I would say, raised to be extremely independent and to depend on me. And so a part of me sending out that message was, yes, I want to do this for me, as a service, yes, but then this is coming from me. But then in order to stay in it and to believe through it, I had to have strong faith. So that's something that came to me and has blossomed over time, and it has held me and it's kept me. So that's something. And also, I would say relentless. It's a word that my husband used to describe me. If you were to ask him one word to describe my personality, it's relentless. And sometimes I would question. I had self-doubt the entire time. I would question. I would think, am I delusional? And the word delulu started trending. I'm like, yeah, that I can relate.
That's me.
Yeah, I actually see that. But then there was something still that anchored me, and it was that purpose that I was wanting to connect to, that sense of connection. It was so good. I was full of joy. And my identity was no longer tied to the title or the corporate role or everything that I had learned and been trained to do. It was now tied to my purpose and showing up as a calling in my calling.
Yeah, and it sounds like there was a little identity kind of stuff going on
When
there.
you were speaking, that's the word that was coming to mind. So much of my identity was tied to what I had done in corporate and how I'd shown up in those spaces in a way that I didn't even realize until it was no longer there.
Oh, wow.
So that bottom fell out, and what I had left, like I said, was my faith, my dream, and my own internal knowing and purpose that I was connected to, and it was enough. It was more than enough.
That's so powerful. I talk about it as like these internal resources that they're being cultivated through life experience, through spiritual practices, through all of these things. But it's something about when it's time to use them.
Let me tell you.
You pull up on that thing because you ain't got no choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it is the choice.
Yeah.
And that's what I followed. And it was just one step at a time. The whole path was not laid out. I had an idea. I didn't have the Neuro Savvy name yet. I was just out giving and speaking and being fulfilled as I was sharing this information, seeing lights turned on for people, already getting testimonials right away by how transformative the information and I guess just my energy, my spirit was showing up in these spaces. And that was enough. That first check was $200, but it was enough.
Wow.
It was enough for me to know that I was on the right path.
That I'm on to something here.
I was on to something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. So let's get into the neuroscience.
Yes.
And so most of us think of communication as something we learned, just choose your words, watch your tone, be clear, body language, and all that is, of course, communication and important. But you come at this from a completely different angle. What does the brain actually have to do with how we communicate, and why does that matter for how we connect with others?
That's so good. What I learned through my training is the brain is the control center for every function that happens in our body and through us.
Yeah.
And so our breathing is controlled by our brain, our movements, and yes, our communication is all controlled there. And so understanding how it works when it feels threatened versus rewarded, I would say that's the key. And that comes out through your communication. That's how you express yourself. People can pick up in your tone. They can pick up in your body language, whether or not you're sending signals of feeling a sense of threat and fear or reward and moving towards what you're saying and what you're talking about. And it's that intangible sense that we create through our connection. And the way we express it is through communication. So out loud, verbally, yes. Body language, too. So much of communication, most of communication is in our body language. In the way we sit, in the way we are making eye contact or not. And then also in the written word. So what we write, how we're expressing ourselves is all wrapped up in where we're coming from internally.
Yeah. If we think about, of course, from COVID on up, and we know that so much of our communication is in our body language. Let's talk about this virtual remote world that we're working in. Like, we do know that we lose a little bit of our power with the body language. And nowadays, people don't even want to put a camera on. They don't even put a picture up. You're just speaking to that
little
black
profile.
Not even a face, right? How have you, from your vantage point in your work, how have you seen, and of course, we had remote work and all that before, but the growth and expansion of that since COVID, how have you seen the remote working world affecting our communication in this way and our connections in this way?
People are lonely.
Yeah.
So that's the downside, is that, yes, we're showing up on calls if that's your job, your work experience, where you're on remote calls most of the day. But then you are in a space alone, typically.
Yeah.
And after that call shuts down, you're by yourself. And people want to feel a sense of community. They want to feel connection. Then they go to their digital device and they're scrolling. And it's all about busyness and seemingly that you're interacting and engaging with people. But there's still that physical sense of aloneness that people are suffering from, I would say. And so it's really important to be aware of that and to be intentional about getting out in real life, IRL, getting into community where you feel safe, where there are trusted individuals there, and finding your voice and your sense of connection there. So I would say now that the world opened back up, it's been several years now, really motivating yourself to get out and make those in-person connections is key to your own well-being, professionally and personally.
And I love this lens you're providing, because we do know there was a lot of, coming after COVID, especially when it was their whole return to work and people were quitting the jobs because they're like, nope, I don't got this remote thing.
Exactly, yes.
And so there was I feel like an equity piece where a lot of black people, and I heard a lot of black women say, no, because it feels safer for me to be remote.
I know.
But then there's still this piece, like you're saying, you don't got to get that connection from them people.
That's right.
But what other space do you have to curate those connections? I think that's important to realize. It can be both and.
Absolutely. We don't have to limit ourselves and be so black and white in our thinking. Absolutely, it can be both and. It should be, yes.
I think the new thing, and I have a daughter who's going into her senior year of high school. So she always hip in me too, what the trends are on the TikTok and all of that. But we were talking. Look, we were talking the other day. I got a profile, but I can't bring myself to just really invest in it. I'm like, I'm just getting this other stuff. I'm just getting Instagram now. No, but we were talking about, they're very savvy.
They are.
We were talking about the parasocial relationships, right?
I know.
And how people, because especially their generation, where, a large portion of their life, like I feel like when she was little, it wasn't quite. She's about to be 17, but I have a 10-year-old. Yeah. His whole existence, there will have been this this way of connection through the internet. And we were talking about these parasocial relationships and how because people follow you or connect with you, they never spoke with you. They never maybe have even exchanged messages with you, but they think they know you.
That's right.
They feel emotionally connected to you. And, I think about what does that era do to us with our communication and our connection. I see even in that age group, there's a bit of an anxiety. My daughter is a gifted, honors all of this, but will still be like, I'll say, go see, we're going to go to the restaurant. It looks like a lot of people. Go in there and see how long the wait. What I'm supposed to say, Mom? And I'm like, girl, if you don't put your big AP gifted thinking, we want to eat, what do you think? But I think it's something about.
There is something. I would describe it as an overabundance of dopamine hits, and we are lacking oxytocin drips.
Wow.
So those two chemicals come up in our brains and they operate differently. They provide us pleasure, but dopamine, we need it more often, and it's in shorter spurts. And it actually is important in creating our habits. Okay. So we want to create a new habit. We close the loop by having a release of dopamine that helps us get through, motivate, close that, complete that task, and now a habit is formed. Yeah. Whereas when we are in person and when we're building relationships over time, slowly, organically, that's when oxytocin flows. We see most of the oxytocin come out when a woman has a baby, gives birth to a baby, and that's when her oxytocin is in overabundance, helping her to bond to that new baby.
Wow, that's the attachment piece.
Yes, but we're moving slower. We're looking into each other's eyes. We're being slower about our connection. We're being very intentional. And whenever we do that throughout our lives, we are releasing oxytocin. It's the love hormone. It's the bonding hormone. And so that's what's missing. For me, that's what I want. I want the long-standing friendship and relationship. I want to build relationships over time. I don't want just this one-hit wonder type of experience. Like you said, it can feel empty in my season of real tragedy or loss, like a job, like a person, right? If I'm grieving, the dopamine is not the type of fix that I want. I want to rely on who's in my life, who I have those oxytocin-based bonds with, and that will get me through.
See, this is why you need the neuroscience.
I love it. Yes.
But just to put it into context, you said overwhelming of dopamine hits. Is this the like and scroll?
That's it. Every time we do it, because we like. That's a habit we've created.
Scroll. We laughing at 2 in the morning. Ha ha ha! I got that. And then I move on to the next thing.
Right.
So those are the dopamine hits. But the oxytocin is what we're doing here today.
That's what we're doing here today. And that's what we started with when we linked in together on LinkedIn. Yeah. And then you sent the message and we messaged back and forth a few times. Yeah. And then we had our discovery call and now we're here and we'll see where it goes from there. But it's going to continue over time, right? Yeah. And so often people come at us too soon, too fast, right? Like, oh, wait, hold up. Let me get to know you. My name is.
Just take me to dinner first.
Right? Come on. So that's something I do feel like we have to be intentional about teaching and introducing the younger generation to, and also operating like that ourselves because they're modeling our behavior. We all on the phone. We addicted on the phones too. We are all there, from cradle to grave. So we have to be intentional and remember who we are and how we're made.
Okay, this is good. So let's transition this to the workplace.
Yes.
And the work you're doing with organizations, helping to build culture.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what the work looks like to strengthen the communication and the connection. What does that work look like in workplaces?
So good. Wow. There's so many angles that I can go from. I'll just talk about the pillars of my business and my organization where I work with organizations and typically meeting with the HR function, the learning and development function of an organization, These are the people responsible for professional development. But I believe that at work, that is the place for even personal development. Like I said, absolutely. I recognize I needed to develop personally because my work burned me out, right? And so helping people have that language and get the resources in the workplace is, I would say, key and essential and a wonderful environment for that. And then offerings like coaching, one-to-one coaching support, group coaching. That's where we can build up that community and have those collective learning experience and grow together, build that sense of connection and belonging, which is so important. And then training and development. So those courses that we take.
That really teach you how this dopamine, this serotonin, how can you access that, those kind of things. And
just learning techniques. So we want to understand the mission and values of the organization. And then so the modules and the types of trainings or support that we create has to be in alignment with that. So we want to align with the organizational values. If your organization says that we value people, well, then it should show up in the way in the services you provide to your people to help them grow. Yes.
This is good. Now, you mentioned techniques. We're not going to give it all away because they need to hire you. Okay, y'all need to hire her to get the scoop. But like just to put some kind of tactical to this, give us an example of like a technique you might teach to help someone connect through communication.
Yes. One thing, I really think people need to be, I use the word intentional. So understand what drives you and your own motivators. What gives you that sense of reward and knowing and being aware of what makes you feel a sense of threat. So I keep doing this and that. So what is your body doing? Do you lean in when you're in conversation with certain people? Or do some people make you lean back and you want to put distance between you and them? Just what you're doing, what you're feeling internally can give you a sense of where you need to go, what you need to develop. Yeah. Do you want to show up in rooms and be more confident, be leaning forward, be more assured of what you're saying? Do you find yourself leaning back, avoiding opportunities to grow, avoiding opportunities for visibility? It starts with that self-reflection and self-questioning of what you're doing moment to moment as you're engaging with different people at work. Yeah. So one exercise it just came up, and I had a group coaching call before this call today or before this session, and the question I left them with to consider and to bring back in 2 weeks when we meet again is I want you to just notice who gives you energy or what exchanges give you energy in the workplace. For the next 2 weeks, what's draining your energy and what's boosting your energy. Just notice, make note of it. We'll talk about it when we come back. And from there, we want people to build and grow from the inside out. Not to look outside on the social, okay, I want to be like her. I want to grow like them. And then try to map your way towards that. No, what's happening in you, let's start there and we can build something lasting and formidable.
So I'm hearing things like really being able to track your own experiences and then using that to inform your communication. And then I think that body language, one tool that I learned, and I used to be a therapist, so I'm licensed clinical social worker. I used to be a therapist. And one tool that I learned is the concept of mirroring in communication.
So good.
Right?
Yes.
And so finding that it is a difficult conversation for people, or people are feeling resistant, and just a focus eye contact and a lean forward, you will find that people subconsciously would also then focus and lean forward.
That's right.
Likewise, if you back like this, you will find resistant kind of behavior. And a lot of that organically happens when we're really engaged in conversations, but you can also use that to influence conversations too, right?
She teaches Neuro Savvy Leadership.
This is so funny. One of my colleague, Summer, who's on the team, and we've worked together through different businesses over the years, she'll say, go on and put that Dr. Laura on them.
Do it.
I'm not a doctor, but it's that thing of when I really need you to move into something with me, and it's the and the leaning forward, and people come along with you because they're feeling seen and validated and like, okay, she's really here. And it is simulating some connection that actually then forms into connection.
That's it. That's another exercise that I invite people to try, and absolutely, that's exactly.
And it's
what
amazing.
It is.
Like, and I know you've probably had this moment as a facilitator where maybe you have them doing the exercise and you're standing back and watching, and you can see just the body language of people who's really. You even see people, your legs crossed, they'll cross their legs.
Yes.
So it's fascinating that a lot of this kind of neuroscience stuff is embedded in our human
it's who we are
interactions, but we can be more intentional about it with some knowledge.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the goal.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so you talk about both spoken and unspoken communication.
Yes.
The words we say, the ones we don't. What is happening neurologically when we are holding back or going silent?
Yes.
Say one thing while our body is doing something else. Like, what's happening there? And I think this is particularly important for Black women. Many sometimes are in the workplace and they are kind of stifling their voice because it doesn't feel safe.
That's
so
right.
it makes sense why people are doing it. But what's happening there when we're having those kind of experiences?
Yeah. I'm thinking of our fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses. And so typically when I'm coaching someone one-on-one and they're telling me about what you just described, I pull up an image of categories, explain which each one is, and ask them, well, which one feels most like that action that you're doing, that behavior that you've noticed? And so the fight can be internal, where you are managing your words. So you're going silent because you feel like if you do say something,
I'm going to cuss these
everybody
people out.
out.
I'm going to jail.
Everybody got to go, right? So, or it can be flight, where you leave the premises, you ghost, you just don't show up, you are not accounted for.
And does that include checking out mentally
Completely
too?
checking out.
Like you on the grocery list. You're not even
there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then freeze, where you are like deer in headlights. So this is something I've learned through my own therapy, dissociation.
Yes.
So you're literally not even present anymore in your body. So often, and I will say this, and I feel like I can relate to this, we are not connected to ourselves from the eyebrows down.
Yes.
Right? So we have gone somewhere else
to
survive this experience that we're in. And the last one is fawning, where I'm just going into servitude, obedience.
Yes.
Like if I just perform, if I
Very
just
apologetic.
wear the mask, and I'm just happy to be here. I'm people pleasing. I'm wearing a mask. I don't really feel like that.
Yeah.
I might hate your guts, but you'll never know.
You'll never know. Smiling.
You'll never know. So people don't really know you, what's your driver, what's important to you, what your purpose and value is, how you see your purpose and value, because you're in one of those 4 categories. So I would say for people to do some exploration about that and then understand ways to navigate out of that safely, properly, with a trustworthy person that you can confide in to help you move beyond that, because that's not supposed to be our everyday space.
That's so good. And I always want to put a pin here. I talked about it in another episode this season of we all have our little black box, which is that trauma, those experiences we have. And sometimes we go into these freeze fawn because whatever is happening is familiar and taps the black box, right? So it's not the exact same thing, but it feels like
familiar
when I felt scared or when someone was threatening me before. So then I revert to those behaviors. I revert to being a little kid in the meeting or whatever the case. And sometimes you need a little extra help.
You do. The awareness alone, the language, that's what I was looking for. I said, I know, like you said, I'm having an internal experience, but I can't describe it to anybody. So neuroscience was that language that I used. And so, yes, we need that extra help. We need support.
We need support.
We deserve support.
We deserve support, right? And it is, I always just want to normalize it. Like, we get support for everything else.
Right?
Everything else. You want to figure out your taxes?
Come on.
You get support. Like, so why wouldn't we get support for these other things as well? I love it. Okay. So let's talk about, there's so many ways that I want to go.
So much.
Let's go to this one.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of your work with clients is on clear communication, really learning to articulate what they need, asking for that real self-advocacy type of thing, and to express themselves without shrinking or over-explaining, which is a major thing that we consistently work with our community in Black Women Leading. What gets in the way of that, especially for Black women, and how are you in your work helping people kind of break through that shrinking kind of
that's so good
phenomenon?
What gets in the way of self-advocacy? So much of this is tied to, like I said, starting out with just feeling a sense of threat for whatever reason. And it could be because of past experiences. It could be because of present tense experiences. I have good reason and evidence to show that I should be.
The pattern show. Yeah.
There we go. So what I would say is, walking yourself through that self-awareness. So becoming self-aware. So in these moments or situations, I tend to show up like this, being honest with ourselves, because so honest we can be in denial and we just want to push through or ignore whatever we're doing to cope. But actually coming to a sense of self-awareness, then labeling it, finding your language that is authentic to you to describe what's happening, and then finding a way to mitigate. So what action am I going to take that I can safely take? Because I think people are thinking about their survival. They're thinking about, okay, I need this money. I need whatever this is, and I don't want to mess it up. So I don't want to be the person to make this go away. So what can I do to navigate this successfully? And to me, finding the right people and help is the way to do that. So finding it in community with some trustworthy people. So often we lack sponsorship, we lack mentors, we lack peers that can relate to what we're going through.
That's critical.
So identifying slowly, surely, those people who can be your community, who can be your board of advisors, if you will, your personal board of advisors who can tap in with you to help you through the journey. That's what I would say. It's very practical.
It's very practical.
Yeah.
And I just want to kind of distill out, you said a couple of things I think is important to kind of mention. You mentioned gaining the language for what's happening.
That's it.
And then the mitigation piece, which insinuates strategy.
It does.
Right? It insinuates strategy that I'm not kind of just reacting, but okay, I know that there is a risk here. I know that there's a risk here. What can I do to mitigate that risk?
That's right.
And then using that to kind of decide what I want to speak. Because everything you ain't got to speak up for.
Everything,
but some things
is not a battle.
Might be important.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Being very, I love that word, strategic about when to speak up. Learning to pause, to slow down. That's another one. Slow down.
Slow down.
Slow down. We are moving so fast. We have so much on our plates. We're doing so much. We're over functioning. We're just doing. Finding moments to be, to get still, if you can comfortably tap into what's going on. So slowing yourself down so you can think through your strategy and your moves one step at a time.
This is good.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one more question before we switch to our season's theme questions.
Yes.
Okay. So we know that you, I just want to give some insight on the impact of the work. Like we're giving some tips. We're giving some things you want to try. Maybe some things you want to explore, but I want to give some amplify like the impact, right? So you help people create these healthier workplaces by understanding how the brain and body function together, right? What are the most powerful shifts you've seen in your clients when they start applying this neuroscience lens to how they communicate and connect?
The one request that comes up when people come into coaching the most often, typically when we establish what their goals are going to be, because we are here to achieve goals together, and I'm here to help you through it, is confidence. It's what you said. Once again, it can be intangible, but you know it when you see it. You know it when you feel it. So the confidence that transforms within people. In one-to-one coaching, I typically notice it by the third or fourth call.
Okay.
Because we are developing strategies that are customized for them and their nervous systems. And so they're trying it. They feel the level of trust with me to actually try and experiment with some of the things that we provide. And they do it, and their confidence has shifted. So that looks like so many different things for different people, but literally just showing up and showing out. Sharing their voice, sharing their perspectives, being willing to make a mistake. So much of us can suffer from perfectionism, not even wanting to try because it's not perfect on the first try.
Perfect.
So being willing to try and make a mistake and learn. I also see a shift in moving from being very fixed in your mindset to being more learning oriented, just more curious. A growth, your improvement and an increase in your level of curiosity and openness. So those are some just intangible gains that we've seen. And for organizations, we see their numbers retaining their great talent. With organizations, if you have a good employee, you don't want them to leave. We're investing in them.
And it's expensive to replace.
Tens of thousands of dollars
it's expensive.
to replace your good talent. So what we're seeing is an increasing in their retention rates. So we help them with that, and an increase in their engagement rate. So less team conflict, people willing to, and knowing how to navigate difference of opinion. We want to just build your capacity. That's physically what is happening within your nervous system as well. Your capacity is growing to hold more, to hold more nuance, to hold more ideas at once, to move slower, because organizations want us to move so fast and do so much with so little.
Especially in this AI first kind of
Absolutely.
landscape. Yeah.
So you're growing your own internal capacity, and then together we have a collective nervous system, and we're moving and advancing together as one more fluidly.
Yeah. I love that perspective though of the culture as a collective nervous system.
It is.
That's a great perspective to think about the team dynamic, the team culture as this collective nervous system that we are kind of moving through this space.
It's an organism.
Yeah.
There are trainings that I do about team as an organism, and what part of the organism do you fulfill as a team member? You even mentioned it in the mirror neurons and that pass back and forth. We are moving as one, right? Not even knowing it.
Yep.
I love the Neuro Leadership Institute's definition for culture, which is our everyday shared behaviors. So these are behaviors we don't even know about anymore. They are now subconscious. We're just doing them. And that
good
is
and
culture.
bad.
Good and bad. And that is culture.
Ooh, I love it.
Yes.
I could geek out on this
We
stuff
can
all
do it.
day. We
That's
gotta do
what I
lunch.
do. Yes.
We gotta do lunch. I want to
Yes.
ask you one of our season's themes question before we wrap up. We know, and this topic has been very timely with it. Our season 9 theme is on nurturing, cultivating our relationships with ourselves. I want to ask you, as a real life Black woman leading and as a possibility model for our guests, our audience that's listening, what has cultivating a relationship with yourself looked like across the different seasons of your life and leadership? How has that shifted?
Ooh, with myself. You know, I feel like a part of my burnout was that I had stopped learning. And I love to learn. So when I sat with myself and just went through the seasons, I went through decades of my life. Like the first 10 years, what do I remember that was most significant for me age 0 through 10? 11 through 20 and so on. And what I remember is I love to read. My mom would say, I don't want to read a magazine after you because all the words gone. You didn't read the words off the page. Right? I would just take in information. And by this time when I had gotten burned out, I was like a robot, just like press and repeat, rinse and repeat. So I remembered that. And then inserted that back in my life. I did so in a big way. I said, well, I'm going to sign up and go to grad school. I'm about to learn.
I'm going to really learn.
Yes, I'm going to really learn. And get that structured learning to build that habit back for myself. So remember what it is that makes you back from when you can remember yourself, when you first come into a knowing of who you are, and try to integrate that into your day-to-day.
In different seasons of life. And one season it looked like grad school, and another season it could be like finding books to read for yourself, taking a class.
That's what it is now. I love my Audible, my audiobooks. Yes. I love that. Try to get to those goals. And I've joined book clubs to keep my mind active in that way. And podcasts. Listen to podcasts like yours. I'm an avid podcast listener. Yes. And so, yes, I'm always learning. So you're right. It does change season to season.
So I love that. Okay, last question. Yes. What is one thing from this discussion we had today that you want every Black woman listening to walk away with and do differently after hearing this conversation?
Ooh. Do you talk about love a lot on this podcast?
Yeah, let's talk about love. Go ahead, say a little bit about love.
I feel like I mentioned that today. I didn't even know that I would do that, but I would just think about what love means to you. So my definition of love is scriptural, is biblical, and it doesn't keep count of right or wrongs. It's patient, it's kind. Yes. Right? Love doesn't hurt in my world. Yeah. You know, so many times we can describe something as love, like if they don't hurt you a little bit, they don't love you. Yeah. But
a lie from the pit of hell.
Oh my God, the words right out my mouth. Listen, you reached in my throat for that one. So to just really get clear on what love is and to move towards that one little bit at a time. I'm so thankful now that I'm in a career that I actually love. Yeah. I enjoyed what I did. I felt confident and assured in a sense of identity in what I did in corporate. But now I do what I love, and nothing can touch it.
Nothing can touch it.
Nothing can touch it. So whether it's your career and other aspects of your life, really lean into love for what that is for you.
I love it. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. How can people connect with you? Anything we should know about that you got going on?
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. People can connect with me at Keyshawn Hughes. That's my name on LinkedIn, on Instagram. And those are the places where you'll find me most. I do have a TikTok too, but my daughter, you'll see her post there more than you'll see mine. And then you can follow Neuro Savvy Leadership also on those two platforms. And I have a book, Neuro Savvy Storytelling, that will be out soon. I don't have an exact date.
No pressure.
But I would say as part of communication, storytelling is key. I think I told a couple stories today, and so did you.
Yes.
That's a way to get your message across and to build that connection. So look for that book, Neuro Savvy Storytelling, coming soon.
I love it. I love it. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I hope you listening or watching have too. If this resonated with you, if you thought this information was valuable, please share this episode with your network. Share it with your colleagues, your friends, your family, so that they can get this learning that we're talking about here too. The Black Woman Leading Podcast is on all streaming platforms. You can also listen on our website, blackwomanleading.com, and you can listen and watch on the Black Woman Leading YouTube channel. If you'd like to connect with us, we are at Black Woman Leading, and woman is singular. We are on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me personally, at Laura E. Knights, most active on LinkedIn, and you can also catch me on Instagram. And then finally, if you'd like to learn about the work we do inside of organizations to build stronger leaders and teams, check out our corporate site at knightsconsultinggroup.com. We would love to connect with you in any of these ways. And until next time, be well. Keep